Well, welcome viewers. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, Theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia, at Gosford. Central Coast Marine Rescue, Central Coast Marine Rescue, Central Coast Marine Rescue. CC-130, procedural radio check, Gosford boat, main boat ramp, over.
CC-130, this is Marine Rescue Central Coast. Marine Rescue Central Coast, reading you loud and clear on channel 16, over.
Marine Rescue Central Coast, Marine Rescue Central Coast, Marine Rescue Central Coast. CC-130 will follow the log on, log off at procedures. CC-130 out.
CC-130, message received. Marine Rescue Central Coast out.
Well, welcome viewers. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, Theologist, New South Wales, Australia, for our afternoon training session. Be strong. Be strong, men and women. Come into that place where you're going to get the most out of your life through diet, exercise, education for life, spirituality, time for your spirituality, give, take, care and share, bring awareness to your life. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy the scenery today. We're making an effort, or I'm making an effort, to show you that you have to have life with variables. Not everything's predictable. But you can be disciplined and determined with the way you want to live. I've been doing this now on these waters for, well, I'll be conservative and say 45 years, but I've been swimming in that pool there for 50 years. I've never had any reason to leave where I live. As you can see, it's some of the best fishing grounds, sports grounds and waterways in the world, and I've used it, man, all the way for the last 57 years. Thank you for joining me from all over the world. If you like what I say, consider pressing the like button, possibly subscribing. Most of all, comment, because the comments on the subjects help me to reflect and build content around people's experiences. That's a marina. Again, we're at Gosford on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. And you can change your life step by step. Sometimes it takes a serious crisis or some kind of major event for people to come to the place where they go, no, this alcohol, this weed, these medications aren't worth it. We've just had one of my mates' partners had a revelation about medications. She saw a doctor. The doctor said, okay then, we'll take you off bit by bit. She's now free of it. Free of it. And they're thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. She said she feels 100% better. Her mind's clearer. Her body feels better. Just overall improvement. So these things are possible. On the other hand, I've seen people pass away before their time, and that's why I do these videos. I hope I've got the camera angle right for you. This camera's been playing up. I hope it works. And the scenery is absolutely spectacular. We're paddling into the light, and we should be living in the light, walking in the light, as He is in the light. The Bible says. And the darkness doesn't comprehend light, unfortunately, and the shadows of the darkness claw people back in. That's the problem. The further you go into the darkness, the further the journey is back out. And what we familiarize ourselves with and take pleasure in is what we form ourselves around. These are the things that bring our formation. Now we've got some weight coming off this boat. It's going to be interesting. Watch this, viewers. Okay, so we'll speed up and we'll paddle hard into it. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And we move on. And that's what life does to you. It sends curveballs like that that you don't expect. How do you deal with those things? Training. If you train your mind and educate your mind by way of relationship, guess what? You're going to improve yourself, your thinking and your way about life. You cannot, it's not possible to help somebody else develop, but your mind can bring improvement to people's lives and transform right in front of my eyes. Transform for good right in front of my eyes. But the darkness pulled a lot of them back in, because what happens is the way we're formed, we allow ourselves to form. A lot of these women haven't had men that have been able to bring them any leadership that's been positive, because a lot of men are selfish. They focus on themselves. I just read a passage in the book of Job where it says the fathers were not as worthy as my sheepdogs. Now what do sheepdogs do? They corral up the sheep and lead them in the right direction, the way the shepherd asks them to and directs them to. Fathers are supposed to do this as well. And I don't know if you can see the jelly blubbers under the water there, but there are a significant amount. You wouldn't want to fall in there at the moment because you'd get stung. And the fathers haven't led their children or their wives in the direction by the authority that God's given them the way that they should have. Not all of them, but there is a group. And this gives way to the wife by nature to want to emasculate the husband. And when this happens, they'll bring the children on board. They'll just bring the children on board to side with them in their quest now to demasculate the husband. And they'll collude and collaborate with the children. Of course, if the children have got their nose out of joint with the drunken father and can see the harm that's coming to the mother, and the mum's legit, she's got every reason to be complaining and whinging, they'll jump on board, don't you worry, and they'll protect the mother from the psychological and emotional abuse of the father. The father then, a lot of these men, because of their toxicity and the disturbance around it all, this keeps the woman pinned in. They become conditioned and trained, narcissistically entrained by the man, by his narcissism, which means, and my daughter gave me this description the other day, you put $20 into a pokey and get nothing back. You put $100 in and all of a sudden you get $5 back. You put $1,000 in, you get $10 back. You put 10,000 in, you get $1,000 back. That's what it's like when you're dealing with narcissism and psychopaths and these types. They're all exciting, right? They get you addicted, but the return on the excitement is traumatic. And I think the poker machines and the gambling side of it all is really a good way of explaining it, because the return for your investment isn't worth it. Oh well, I won 6. Add up your losses against your gains. Oh, they're really good in bed, they're really, add up your losses against your gains. You will find the narcissist most commonly will leave you emotionally starved. There'll be a shortfall in the emotional connection. There's some Jelly Blubbers viewers. You will feel the void. You'll wonder where it is, why it's gone. But you'll be entrained. You'll be trying harder. You're just constantly reaching, and that's what keeps these people in. Some of these women have been in these relationships for 20, 30 years, miserable relationships, intoxicated with the toxicity. I've seen these women, and these flaws rub off on these people, and they don't know how to deal with stability or resilience or fortitude in a healthy way. They don't understand it. How can this be? And they rebel against it because by nature they're used to the toxicity. They'll come in with fascination. Oh, I love this strength, and I love this peace, and I love this stability. But they're too used to the toxicity. And one way or another, they're going to cause toxicity to happen. They're just going to cause it. That's all there is to it. Now, that's all right for them. Oh yeah, that's all right for them. But it's not all right for you. It shouldn't be. Because by the time these people have dumped the narcissist, guess what? Because they've been entrained and conditioned, they've built up covert resentments and bitternesses towards that sex, the male sex or the female sex, and they haven't healed or know what victimized and possibly the smear campaign, but it's only out of hurt. But you've made the right decision. And if you've given that person a good reason and you've given them fair closure, all right, really you have to just let them go, because they'll go. If you tell someone to go enough, they'll go. They can only take so much of that themselves. And then everybody, whatever they do after that, is up to themselves. But what you should do is now process. Where did I go wrong? How did I not? Did I let it go too long? What damage did I do? How deep was the hurt that I caused upon myself and upon the other person? Was it fair, the way in which I shut down the relationship? Will that person understand? That's irrelevant. See, that's an irrelevant question. It doesn't matter. If that person's not willing to communicate, which they won't, because they'll be too they'll have a sense of betrayal or whatever, they'll give in. Once you call it and it's over, You need to leave that person alone. Full stop. Leave that person alone. And let them heal themselves as well. Because breakups hurt. There's no other way of saying it. They just hurt. Even for the dumpee. Even for the dumper. Even for the dumper. Particularly if the reason for the breakup isn't something wrong by the dumpee. He's just, or she has just had to come to the place where they can't cope anymore with the unresolved or the breakdown in the relationship. It's just enough. We've given it enough time. We've tried for long enough. That's it. That's when it can hurt the dumper. I don't think a dumpee really gets off light, ever. But some people know if they've played up and had an affair and been caught in an affair, they'll know that they're going to get ditched. And they have to lick their wounds however they're going to. A lot of these people won't apologise. My second wife apologised. I'll never forget it. Sorry for all the stress, worry and loss myself and my children have caused you, Jason. I'm so sorry. And that was fair. That was a fair call. I was happy with that. I was grateful for that. I was quite surprised given the carnage that they actually did. It was the worst, up there with the worst behaviour I've ever seen. Stealing, sabotage of property. When they moved out, they bashed all the walls, and I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but it definitely wasn't acceptable. She stole money out of the bank account over a period of time. The daughter, in her malignant serial narcissism, went ahead and tried to sabotage a new relationship that I started. And I'll always be grateful to that woman for her belief in me over and above the vandalism and character defamation that these people were trying to bring upon me. I'll always have an element of honour for that woman in that. Because it's not all about getting the shits with people. If things don't work out, yeah, it's going to be hard at first, but you put it behind you and you go, okay, that person still gave part of their life as well. You move on. But there's so many different ways in which we need to grow. We need to be aware and develop personally. And we need to be fair. You know, a lot of these people will understand eventually, like over time after the breakup, that there were valid reasons for it to end. It was just too mind-bending to try and cope with the unresolved. One woman I was with, she didn't have any kids, and I couldn't work her out. She was a Sunday school teacher, but she'd complain about the kids next door. I couldn't work that out. She was a bit of a whinger, too much for my liking. I did get engaged. She didn't wear the ring for very long, which was interesting. I was onto that, and I told her, no, I'm not continuing with this relationship. And it wasn't to attack her or offend her, it just wasn't a healthy situation for me to be in. Full stop. That's it.